revolution, my brothers and sisters.
Thank you very much, Councillor Adrian Ali, for that warm introduction. Honorable political leader of the United National Congress and the best Prime Minister this country has ever seen, the Honorable Kamla Persad-Bissessar, my UNC brothers and sisters, members of the media, and all of you joining us on the various social media platforms, a pleasant good night to each and every one of you. Brothers and sisters, in just about 1 month's time, this country will mark 2 years since the general election of 2020 and 7 continuous years of the PNM in office. And what do they have to show for their time in office, brothers and sisters? Since the PNM became the government of Trinidad and Tobago, they have spent over $393 billion. And I ask again, what do they have to show for spending this amount of money? Have we, the citizens, seen any kind of value for that amount of money being spent? Do we feel any safer today than we were in 2015? Is our business doing any better than we were in 2015, brothers and sisters? Do we feel more empowered with better opportunities, better roads, better drains, better water supply? Since this PNM government came into office, it is like we have taken 10 steps backward in this country. Everything has collapsed under this Keith Rowley PNM. Our roads, our bridges, our jobs, our businesses, the economy, every aspect of society, brothers and sisters, has collapsed under this PNM Rowley regime. Nowhere is safe, and our people are suffering to make ends meet. And this is why I say to you tonight, brothers and sisters, that enough is enough. We must find that common ground, putting our country first, uniting our people to get rid of this Keith Rowley PNM and return the most compassionate leader this country has ever seen, our leader, the Honorable Kamla Persad-Bissessar. Brothers and sisters, tonight I want to review what this government promised in their manifesto for agriculture just 2 years ago. This is what they had to say, and I quote, "We are clear that there must be a resurgence and rebirth in agricultural production. To encourage investment, we have already committed in 2020 to making agriculture in all its facets a tax-free industry." You hear lie and mamagai? That is lie and mamagai, brothers and sisters. Let us stick up in there, because I want to say that in the first instance, with respect to making agriculture a tax-free industry, that is another deception of Imbert and this Rowley PNM. Because you see, brothers and sisters, under the People's Partnership government, led by the Honorable Kamla Persad-Bissessar, agriculture was already a tax-free industry. So don't come to hoodwink the population and fool the citizens. Even food items, we had VAT removed from over 7,000 food items under the Honorable Kamla Persad-Bissessar. But as soon as Rowley and Imbert took office, they returned the tax. And from since then onwards, brothers and sisters, it has just been tax after tax after tax that our citizens are facing under this Rowley administration. They even want to put tax on agricultural parcels of land, but we will deal with that when the time comes. With respect to investment into agriculture, where is it? Where is the investment that you have been promising all along? Our agricultural production has been consistently declining according to the Ministry of Finance year in review of the economy. The contribution of agriculture to GDP has decreased from $1.48 billion in 2015 to $1.28 billion. That is a reduction of $200 million in the agriculture sector under this uncaring Rowley regime. Tonight, I want to challenge Prime Minister Keith Rowley and Imbert to point out just one thing, just a single item in agriculture that is cheaper today than it was 7 years ago. And I can assure you, my brothers and sisters, they will even fail to do that. Just to point out one thing that is cheaper today. Every input factor from animal feed to fertilizer have increased in price under this PNM administration. As a matter of fact, every single thing in the market and on the grocery shelves is also increasing in cost because of their mismanagement and their incompetence. They have failed to put their promises into action. Typical PNM style, or should I say PNM promises that never materialize. That is what they represent, my brothers and sisters. In the same manifesto, they said they would allocate 500 million towards stimulating and incentivizing all aspects of agriculture. And when in the 2021 budget, Colin Imbert brought that 500 million agricultural stimulus package to the Parliament, instead of placing it under the Ministry of Agriculture, Land and Fisheries, Colin Imbert huffed the 500 million and put it under the Ministry of Finance. That is how they put in agriculture at the fore of the development, by treating it with gross disrespect and neglect, my brothers and sisters. This was the PNM red flag that the opposition saw and called them out on. But they duck, they run, and they dance left foot, right foot, Balize style. And what we eventually saw was that nothing from that 500 million stimulus package was used for the benefit of the agriculture sector. They used 10 million that they transferred to the office of the Prime Minister, and another 50 for the payment to Namdevco for the food box, which they discontinued last year, December. And our political leader and the UNC has been calling on them to return the food box, because under this Rowley administration, hundreds of thousands of people have been placed on the breadline, and some families do not know where the next meal is going to come from. Unemployment has soared to a new high under this PNM, but they will refuse to return that food box hamper, despite the calls from the opposition. Now, what is even more sad, brothers and sisters, is that in the current financial year, they have reallocated a further 300 million to that same agricultural stimulus package. And with the financial year ending in 2 months, nobody in the government can account for where that money has been spent. 300 million could have gone towards fixing agricultural access roads, so that our farmers would not have to go back to bison and donkey cart and bull cart to get in and out of their garden. Subsidizing the cost of borrowing to farmers and fishermen by paying the interest on ADB loans, just like what they are doing at the commercial bank, allowing their 1% friends, family and financiers to take interest-free loan for up to 7 years, but they refuse to provide the same financial facility to the farmers and to the fishermen. Brothers and sisters, they could have used that money to properly resource the pre-dear larceny squad, to have suitable accommodation, properly working vehicles and equipment to fight off criminals, making fishing facility like Cali Bay, Orange Valley, Brickfield, Claxton Bay, up in Philly City, even Labrie and Cedrus, making these fishing facilities a safer place for our fishermen by providing proper lighting, CCTV cameras, GPS devices, and Coast Guard base set up there. Imagine up to today's date, after we have lost the lives of 7 fishermen a few years ago, and then just last year, another 2 fishermen died to the hands of piracy out at sea. We are still hearing of piracy attack, where the Lochan brothers just a few weeks ago were attacked and had to swim for 4 hours to reach the shores of Labrie. And what is even worse, brothers and sisters, the Coast Guard in Cedrus and in San Fernando did not even have a working vessel to help these fishermen in distress. That is what this PNM government has brought this country to. What about subsidizing the cost of importing fertilizers, seed, and grains that are used to make animal feed, to keep the price of poultry and other meats stable, or even reallocating some of those funds to the Ministry of Local Government, so that our councillors would not have to suffer from the failure of not maintaining these water courses? to prevent flash flooding to our farmers, to the agricultural plots, and even to some residential plots. But this wicked and uncaring PNM, they do not have a plan, brothers and sisters, none whatsoever. That is why the Prime Minister had to go to Guyana, looking for answers for our food security problem. Brothers and sisters, was it not ironic that just a few weeks ago, Prime Minister Keith Rowley had to find himself in talks with Guyana and other CARICOM countries discussing agriculture and regional food security? When just a couple of months ago, before just where he went to Guyana, he didn't want to hear anything about Guyana. Do you remember what Keith Rowley said back in March this year when my brother, the MP for Naparima, questioned him in Parliament as to why he went to Qatar and not Guyana? What he had to say? He replied, who want to go could go. Well, as my colleague from Sawa, Saddam, would say, like dog eat his shame, because he had to put his tail between his legs and he had to go to Guyana looking for answers. But the answers are right here, brothers and sisters. The answers will come if they go directly to those persons who are toiling the land and the sea day and night, rain or shine. And the first thing that these farmers, these fishermen will tell them is that this government has done absolutely nothing to help those in the fishing industry, those in the agricultural industry, in the face of things getting harder and harder, brothers and sisters. I want to refer to an article in the Trinidad Guardian online, dated Wednesday, July 13th, 2022. Just last week, bearing the headlines, farmers beg for government intervention as food prices continue to soar. In the article, the Guardian news team visited Namdevco Wholesale Market in Macoya and spoke to farmers from different parts of the country. And let me quote directly from the article what these farmers had to say. Mr. Surindra Ramjag, a sweet pepper farmer from Karatal, said, the price of chemicals, the price of fertilizers increased by about 200%. At the end of the day, it is hard for consumers. The business needs to be sustainable for farmers too. And Mr. Nigel Singh, a cabbage farmer from Arima, said many farmers were not able to cover the cost of production. And the last line in that article states, Guardian Meter tried to contacting Agriculture Minister Kazim Hussein yesterday, but he did not respond to call. So the last Minister of Agriculture threw in the towel because of some kind of land grabbing issues that we are still waiting on Foster to clear the air on. And the current Minister of Agriculture is now MIA, missing in action and cannot be found. Recently, brothers and sisters, we saw the price of baigan being sold for about $74. Now it was eventually identified as a labeling error. But how many errors have gone unnoticed? Tonight, I want to make and highlight the point, brothers and sisters, that we need to support our neighborhood farmers by buying directly from them whenever and wherever possible. Because the recent escalation that I have seen in prices of local fruits and vegetables at some supermarket is highly unreasonable. And while I have no personal issues with those supermarkets, I want to say to them at the same time that they have a responsibility to ensure that there is no price gouging taking place. Because earlier today, I conducted an experiment myself. I went to the market and bought a few things, and then priced those same things at the supermarket. Let me share with you, brothers and sisters, the result. For things like lettuce, one head of lettuce, at the supermarket, it was priced at $14, whereas at the corner shop vendor, it was $7. Things like pak choy, where we had 3 head in a bundle selling for $17.50. That same pak choy by the vendor was being sold for $10. And things like bodi, which was being sold for $10 by the vendor, was being sold for $14 in the supermarket. Tomatoes was being sold for $17.50, while in the corner shop it was being sold for between $10 to $12 a pound. And the list goes on with things like pimento being sold at $22.68 per pound in the supermarket, but by the vendor on the side, it's being sold for $10 a pound. So brothers and sisters, tonight I urge you to buy local. And by buying local, I mean to support the small farmers who sell from tables outside their house or the little neighborhood vegetable stall. Go to the market and get your fresh vegetables, local fruits, meat and fish by supporting our local market vendor. So in closing, I am reminded of the saying, charity begins at home. We need to be more proactive. We need to support our farmers and our fisherfolk if we are serious about managing our food security. This is where it all starts. Forget the cluelessness of this Rowley-led PNM who only care of themselves, their friends, families, and financiers. Clearly, after 7 years of doing absolutely nothing but blame Kamla, blame COVID, pay lip service, and make excuses, they do not hold the answers. There is only one party that has ever held the answers, and that is, brothers and sisters, the United National Congress, led by the Honorable Kamla Persad-Bissessar. So I urge you, my brothers and sisters, to stand strong and stay united as we seek to form the next government of Trinidad and Tobago and rescue this country from this wicked and self-serving led Rowley administration, to return good governance and to return our leader, the Honorable Kamla Persad-Bissessar, as our next Prime Minister. I thank you very much for this opportunity. Long live the United National Congress, long live our political leader Kamla Persad-Bissessar, and long live you, the beautiful citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. I thank you.